Do you ever feel like no matter how hard you work, your business or your organization just keeps circling the same set of problems? Maybe you tighten up your offer, you invest in marketing, maybe even you hire help, but the core issue doesn't seem to go away. Well, today we're going to talk about one of the biggest mistakes I see impact-driven business owners make when they hit a wall. They jump straight to solutions before really understanding the problem. Here's a hint, this isn't just for impact-driven business owners, this is kind of for everybody. Now, most of us are trained to act fast. We see a symptom, like maybe flat sales or team tension, and we move to fix it. But surface symptoms rarely tell the full story. And we've often been trained to just put a solution into place rather than trying to understand exactly what was going on. A drop in sales might not be a marketing issue. It could be a product market fit issue, or maybe a deeper trust issue between you and your audience. Same with team problems. It might not be about the wrong hire, but it might be a misalignment in purpose, or maybe even leadership clarity. And if you're not careful, you'll end up wasting time and money fixing the wrong thing. Now let me show you a tool I use all the time in my consulting work and in my own life. It's a tool called the 5 Whys. It's ridiculously simple and surprisingly effective. You start with a problem you're seeing and you ask, what is happening here? Why is this happening? And whatever answer you get, you ask, why again? And you repeat this 5 times, digging a little bit deeper each time until you uncover the root cause. Now, one of the first places I heard this used was when they were trying to figure out why the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. was wearing out so quickly. It was weathering a lot faster than some of the other ones. So they asked, well, why is it weathering so fastly and so quickly? And they realized it was weathering so quickly because they were washing it so often. So then they stopped washing it quite so often. They pulled back on the amount of times that it got cleaned on a regular basis, and they thought that that problem was solved. But then they ran into another problem because the monument was overpowered or overcome with bird droppings. Turns out that's why they were washing it in the first place. So then they decided to put some bird netting up and all kinds of other stuff to try to keep the birds out. That didn't really work or solve the problem either, and it just made it even more ugly for people to come and visit because there's all these bird debation or bird avoidance things that were there. There's spikes all over the place and nets and other things. So then they asked, well, why are the birds here in the first place? And then they realized, well, it's because there's all kinds of bugs that come to this place. So then they decided maybe we should put up bug netting and keep the bugs away from this, but that didn't really solve the problem either, and birds were still getting in. So then they asked the question, well, why are the bugs here? So you notice, why is it weathering? Why are the birds here? Why are the bugs here? And it turns out the bugs were there because the lights were turned on at a certain time of the day. So why were the bugs turned on at that particular, or why were the lights turned on at that particular time of the day? The lights were turned on at that particular time of the day because that's when the sun went down, and they decided to turn the lights on in order to make it an inviting place as the sun was going down. All they decided to do after going through this process was to change the time when the lights came on. They gave it about an hour after sunset before the lights would come on, and by then the bugs had found other places to go. No more bugs, no more birds, no more bird droppings, no more need to wash it so often, no more weathering. Here's a quick example for you, maybe. We're getting fewer repeat customers. Well, why? Because people aren't coming back after their first purchase. That's pretty simple. Why aren't they coming back? Because they didn't feel the value matched the price. Okay, this makes sense. But why didn't they feel that? Because maybe we didn't explain the long-term benefits clearly. Well, why didn't we do that? Because our onboarding process is rushed. Why? Because we are short-staffed and focused more on sales than service. So when you go through this process, you see the real issue isn't just pricing or the product, it's an operational gap in how we care for customers post-sale. And that's something you can actually fix. But if you notice and you spent more time on the marketing, the problem would actually get worse because you're already spending too much time on marketing and not enough on fulfillment. Most business decisions should start with a diagnosis, not an assumption. Whether you're trying to scale, shift, or simply stay ahead, you need clarity on what's really holding you back or what the next step could be. In medicine, treating the wrong disease can kill the patient. Same goes for business. So you need to slow down, ask the deeper questions, use tools like the 5 whys, and don't be afraid to discover that the issue isn't where you thought it was. Because once you've named the real problem, well then the path forward can get a lot clearer. If this video sparked something for you, hit subscribe. Every week we're talking about how to build an impact-focused business without losing your soul or your sanity or the growth of your business. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week when we look at how to focus your energy where it actually matters most.